Hi, this is Brian. Today we're going to show you how to install a BeamerTech rear view camera on an F25 X3. So the first step we want to do is we want to go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal of the battery. Whenever you're working on any electrical components, you always want to make sure that you do that. There's two screws right here. They're plastic. All you do is take a flathead screwdriver, you turn them a quarter of the way, and then this will lift up. Now what you want to do is just go ahead and, with a 10mm wrench or socket, you just want to go ahead and loosen the negative terminal of the battery, and then just gently lift this up and set it to the side. And then at this point you can just go ahead and lower this back. Now what you want to do is you want to remove the two Torx screws. These are T20, so just remove this one and then this one. If the car has the power tailgate feature, you just want to take your BeamerTech trim tool and just gently go in here and just pry up along the sides, pull that out, and just go ahead and disconnect that connection and set this button aside. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of this plastic trim. So what you want to do, you want to start in the very back. Just go ahead and just reach your hands under here. And then there's a fastener right about here. So you want to just get your hands in there. And then just be very careful and just go ahead and pop that up. This one's a little bit tough, but it's not that bad. Then just go ahead from the side and then just pop that fastener. And there's another one over here. So this is what it looks like. You'll notice on the bottom you have to pop this first because there's a piece that actually goes through this hole and then it gets mounted to the side. You don't actually have to take this piece completely off though. So then we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Okay. Okay, so now what you want to do is take your trim tool and then just go along here and just gently pry these two compartments off. Now normally these are just so that you can have access to the bulbs, but you'll notice in here that you can see one of the plastic fasteners. So what I like to do is I like to start with the fasteners I can see, and then you can kind of feel and go towards the ones you can't see. So here's a better angle of the fastener. You can see the little white clip right there. So what you want to do is go ahead and just feel around there and then just pop that down. And then once you get one down, it's going to be a lot easier. What you can do is just go along the edge and then just slowly pop it down. I like to do one end and then pop the other, and then you'll be able to start to really feel where everything is. Okay, and then this entire piece is going to pop out. Because you already unplugged your the power trunk button, you can just go ahead and remove this piece and just set it out of the side. So one of the nice things about the X3 is you have really easy access to see all of the different tabs. So you can see there's a tab over here, there's one over here, there's two on the side, there's actually a couple on the back. So what you want to do is start to press in these tabs and then just press it down and outside the car, and then you can actually go in and just remove the handle from the other side. Okay, one on the side. Okay. All right, so at this point what you can do is you can go ahead and just press the handle the rest of the way out. So it should come out nice. You'll notice on the new handle it doesn't have this nice blue clip. Some cars have it in black. Either way, it's just a switch. So what you need to do is you need to just take that off when we're going to install it onto the new one. Let's go ahead and just use a trim tool. There's just 4 different tabs here. Let's go ahead and loosen these two. Pop these off. Okay, so here's the original handle. We'll just set that aside for now. Then what you want to do is you want to just go ahead and clip this on, and then what you want to do is just push the little button in here, and then you'll hear a little click. Okay, so go ahead and take your new camera wire, feed it into that hole to the right, and you want to just take your camera and then just go ahead and press it into place, make sure all the tabs are secure, and the camera is fully installed. So we'll go ahead and we'll run the extension cable. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get the rear view camera cable. This is the one that has the yellow RCA and the white connection, and then it has a smaller white connection on the other side. We just need to get that from the inside of the car up to the rear view camera. So to do that, take your BeamerTech trim tool, go ahead and remove the top part of the rubber hose. And after a little prying, it'll just pop down. We're going to leave the other one in place. Then what you want to do, just lift up on some of the molding here, and then just run your hand along here, and then you'll be able to undo about 3 connections. You can take this piece completely off, but it's not 100% necessary, so we're just going to leave it on. Okay, so once you pull down this top part here, what you can do is just take a sturdy wire. I like to put a little bend in the wire and then put some electrical tape and then put just a little bit of Vaseline on it. It just helps it slide through the tube a little bit easier. And then what I like to do is I like to just go ahead and just gently feed it and try to keep it on the bottom of the wires because there's an opening on this side. So just go ahead and just keep feeding it down. If you reach your hand in here, you'll be able to start to feel where it's going to come out. Okay, so once you push it all the way through, what you want to do is just go ahead and just keep feeding your wire through. Just make sure that you have plenty of wire so that you can actually see the other end and see what you're doing. Okay, then go ahead and pull out the rest of your cable so you can see a little bit better. What I like to do is I like to take a little piece of tape and put it over that small connection. Just make sure that it's sealed up. Then take a larger piece of electrical tape and then just make sure that you secure it really good to this wire here. One of the reasons I like to put a little bend in the wire is just so that when we're doing things like this, it has something to actually grab onto. Otherwise, it could just slip right off. Okay, so once you have that on there, what you want to do, just to make it a little bit easier, is if you take a little bit of Vaseline and just put it on the top here, it'll help everything just glide through. Let's go ahead and wipe my hand off. Okay, so what I could do now is I could just start to pull this wire. And then that'll enable me to pull this wire right through here. Okay, once you get that wire through, what you want to do is just go ahead and just feed it up through this hole. And you can just reach it and grab it. You shouldn't need anything else. Now there's a couple ways you could do this. You can run a feeder through this piece of metal right here on the inside where the actual harness is. The only reason that I like to mount it to the outside is you can actually tape it down so you might not have any tapping. Now you're not guaranteed to have tapping if you have it on the inside, but I like to be able to just secure it down with some electrical tape just to make sure that we're not going to have that. So just go ahead and you're going to just need to pull some more through. Just be very gentle. Alright, so what you want to do now to see how much you're going to actually need to run is go ahead and make that connection from your rear view camera to your camera extension cable, and then either use some heat shrink or electrical tape, and I'm just going to use some heat shrink. Now what you want to do is, starting at the camera, you want to just go ahead and follow this harness here and just zip tie it every so often. Then what you can do is you can just lay your wire, and then just for some added security, just so it doesn't rattle, you can put some electrical tape down. All right, and then what you can do from here is you can go ahead and just pull your wire back. Let's go ahead and take this connection out of the way. Just going to put a little bit more to just Just make sure that this isn't going to rattle. Alright, so once you've done that, you can go ahead and cut off all of your zip ties. Just clean everything up. Then at this point, if you want to go ahead and reinstall all of the plastics, you can go ahead and do that. What we're going to do now is we're going to run the rear view camera extension cable to the front of the car. So to do that, we're going to have to go to the rear passenger seat, and then we're going to show you what we need to do with the seat so that we can feed the wire through. Okay, so at this point, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and release the bottom of the seat. You just go ahead and just pull up, and then the seat will just slide out of place. Then what you want to do is you want to fold this part of the seat down, grab behind here, and then this whole piece will come out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have easy access to get that wire from the back. So let's go back to the back and we're going to feed a wire through. Okay, so now what you want to do is go ahead and take a wire, and what you're going to do is you're going to feed it basically behind this panel right here. So it's going to come out where the seat was. So what you want to do is just go ahead and take your wire and just feed it along the end here. And then it'll pop out on the other side. Okay, so my wire is now down here. Then what you want to do is just go ahead and take this wire and just feed it directly back here. And then you can start to put everything back in place. Now that your wire is here, you can go ahead and attach it with some electrical tape to the wire, and then we're going to pull the entire cable towards the front of the vehicle. So what I like to do is I like to just untangle everything first, just to make sure it's not going to get tangled. Okay, so just take the end of the wire here. And just fasten it like this, just with some electrical tape, and then go up front. And then just gently pull that all the way through. And there's a lot of space, so you shouldn't have any problems pulling it through. Okay, continue to just pull the wire all the way out. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and start to secure it to that harness right there. Alright, so now we can go ahead and start to remove some more of the trim. So what you want to do first is go ahead and lift up your seat, and then under here there's just a Phillips head fastener, so you just go ahead and unscrew that, and then that'll pop off. And then what you can do is just very, very gently just pull this piece of trim up. Like so. And then just unclip it from there. Now BMW uses these fasteners. I'll show you what they look like here. Typically they'll get stuck in the car, so this is what they look like. What you want to do when you go to install everything, you just slide them back into their channels, and then they pop right in place. So if they get stuck, just go ahead and take either a trim tool or some pliers and just pull them out. Okay, so once you're here, you want to just go ahead and just get your hand under there, and then you heard that one. You heard the one pop, and then you're gonna have to go on the other side to get the other one to pop. But what you can do in the meantime is just continue to run your rear view camera cable, and then we're gonna go up to the front. Okay, so once you're at the front, what you need to do is just reach your hand under this trim here, and then just gently pull up. And it has the same type of fasteners that it has in the back. So just be really careful and just pop that up. Might take a little bit of force. Again, most of them are gonna get stuck in the car, but that's not a problem. For the front of this piece here that covers the seat belts, what you want to do is you want to lift this little piece of plastic out. It kind of sinks down into a hole, and then you can go ahead and pop that other fastener. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to stick a wire through here so that we can easily feed the wire through. So go ahead and just from the front to the back, just go ahead and just carefully feed a wire through. All right, and just like we've been doing, you want to just go ahead and take a piece of electrical tape and then tape your camera cable through it, and then just go on the other side and then just gently pull it through. I just like to get it a little bit started, especially if you're only doing it with one person. just go ahead and pull that fairly tight. And just go ahead and follow it along. Make sure that everything is secured down. And then just try to push it under the carpet. Okay, then just keep running your rear view camera cable under the carpet, and then just go ahead and reinstall your trim as you're going along here. Just make sure that your weather stripping is on the outside before you press everything back together. And then you can just go ahead and snap everything back in. Again, if your fasteners get stuck, you just want to take a trim tool or some pliers and then just take them out and just go ahead and slide them back into the channels. Okay, and then once you get to here, we're going to do something a little bit different. What I want you to do is just go ahead and pull this rubber gasket off, and then you're just going to run it up here. What we're going to do is we're just going to run it through the glove box. So we're going to take this panel off. So what you want to do is just go ahead and take some more off, and then just slide your trim tool in here, and then this whole panel will pop right off, and it's going to give you a nice big opening. So we're just going to feed that rear view camera cable through here, and that's going to get connected to the multimedia interface. So once you've done this, what you can do is just go ahead and press that back into place. Okay, that's nice and secure. Okay, so before we run the cable any further, what we need to do is we need to create an opening so that we can feed the wire through. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start to disassemble this. So what you want to do is just very carefully on your vent, just pull straight out. And then when you flip it over, there's going to be a connection for your start-stop button. And then there's going to be two other connections over here, and I'll show you that in just a second. Here's the one, here's the two. So the first one is for this button right here, the hazard switch, which is up here, and then there's another button that does the doors, so it locks and unlocks your doors. So you can see there's a white connection and a black connection, so just pop those out. And then over here is the start-stop button, which you can see right over here. So just go ahead and place that to the side. Then what you want to do is you want to take a trim tool, and there's a seam right here. Just very carefully pry either from the side or from the top, and there's a little compartment that you're going to need to knock down. So it's very easy to pull out. You can see there's only two clips, and it just has the map light. You can leave this all connected. You don't even have to really remove it. Underneath here there are two T20 screws, just like you see up at the top. So go ahead and remove all 4 T20s. Okay, once you've removed all that, you can just take this faceplate and you can just take it straight out. And there's just 2 connections. There's a locking mechanism, so you just press down there and then you slide the lever out, and then it will pull the plug out for you. And you can just go ahead and just pop that off. Just make sure it's all the way open. Same thing here, so just press on that middle tab and just slide everything out. And just go ahead and remove that piece as well. Next, what you want to do is go ahead and remove the head unit. Again, it's just 2 T20 screws. And then just go ahead and gently slide that out. You'll notice that we always try to make sure that this entire area is covered. The BMW trim is very expensive, whether it's yours or someone else's. So we always like to make sure that we are protecting it the best we can. All right, so at this point, what you want to do is go ahead and locate the large block harness, which just looks like this. It has two large harnesses, 2 large blocks, and then it has the power cable, and then it has a couple RCAs. So what you want to do is go ahead and press this tab down on the factory one, and then it's going to slide right out. Now when you pull it out on the side, you're going to see two cords that look like this. These are the optic cables. So what you want to do is go ahead and grab a pick tool or a trim tool. And again, they on the bottom, you'll see all of these have very tiny holes, but these have larger holes. So just go ahead, there's a little pin on the side. Just pry it up and then just pull that out. And then with that, what you want to do on the exact same spot, again, you can see the 4 larger holes, and it was on the end. You just go ahead and slide that into the end. Just make sure you have it the right way here. And then that'll be nice and secure. So that's going to make sure that everything is working correctly on the harness. All right, so once you've done that, you can go ahead and take that new harness that you just put that new cable into, the optic cable, and just go ahead and press it in, and then just pull this tab up and it's going to click into place. And take the other end of the new block harness and just connect it with the one that we just pulled out of the car. Again, you just put it in, and then you slide this lever up and everything will lock nice in place. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and feed the rear view camera cable through the glove box on the top and then out the center part here. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're just running it up the side, and then make sure that you press this piece out of the way and make sure that you put it behind. And that'll make sure that everything is just completely hidden and out of the way. And then what you could do is you don't even really need to use a wire feeder. Sometimes it helps a little bit, but you can just really just even stick your arm in here. There we go. Just be careful as you're feeding it through, because you don't want to knock any of those connections off. Okay, then at this point what you can do is you can go ahead and continue to hide your wire and then replace the molding. Before you replace the molding 100% though, just make sure that you put this piece of trim back in here. Go ahead and put all that back. Okay, so that's good. We'll go back inside the car now. Okay, so once you've done that, you can see that the cable comes out over here, so we can just kind of go ahead and feed this down to where we need it, making sure that it's out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I first fed it through here, and then we're going to mount the multimedia interface under this head unit here. So I'm just going to, again, a lot of this you won't even need to use any kind of wire feeders. If you have large hands, you may have to, but for the most part, you should be okay. Okay, so then just feed it so it comes out the bottom here.
Now it's time to configure the multimedia interface to the features and characteristics of your vehicle. Number 1 is for HDMI 1. What you want to do is you want to select this to on to disable it or off to enable this feature. Number 2 is HDMI 2. Again, select it on to disable this feature or off to enable it. Number 3 is the AV or the RCA ports. Select these on to disable the feature or off to enable it. Number 4 is the front camera. Again, select it on to disable the feature or off to enable it. Then number 5 is the monitor size. If you have the standard 6.5-inch screen, you're going to want to set this to on. If you have the larger screen, go ahead and select this off. Number 6 is the rear view camera mode. Select on for the 3D GUI or select off for the standard GUI. Number 7 is the rear view camera. Select on to enable this feature or off to disable it. And number 8 is the factory reset. Typically, we're just going to leave this off.
Okay, here you can see the rear view camera extension cable. So what we're going to do is make sure that this is routed under the head unit. Then what you want to do is take a trim tool and just go ahead and press in on this tab and remove the video cable, which looks like this. What we're going to do is we're going to route this underneath of the head unit when we go to mount it. So now we're ready to set up the MMI. We've already gone ahead and we've set up our diff switches. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead and take the new video cable and put it into LVDS in, and then also plug the other end of that into the back of the head unit. Now this is how we have to think about it. So the signal is coming from the head unit into the multimedia interface, so it goes from the head unit to in, and then the existing video cable is going to go out, so it's LVDS out to the screen. So you have head unit into the multimedia interface, and then you have the signal going out to the screen. So that's the correct way that you want to have that set up. Then what you want to do at this point is you want to go ahead and grab, this is from the big block harness, but there is a white connection, and this is your power. So we're going to go ahead and plug that in. And then lastly, you want to go ahead and grab your AV in and out, and go ahead and plug that in as well. Make sure all of these wires are going to be able to be mounted underneath the head unit here. So just make sure that you're conscious as we go. Now what you want to do is you want to take your rear view camera extension cable, and you want to look at the different cables. Okay, so this yellow RCA says RCam, so we're going to go ahead and connect our yellow RCA to this yellow RCA that says RCam. Then what you want to do is you want to find the power switch. So there's one that says RCam and one that says FCam. Make sure that you are plugging it into the RCam. And that's what's going to supply power to the multimedia interface. Now what you want to do is just go ahead and we can start to put everything away. Just make sure that you have all of your connections out of the way, especially the big block harness. Just move some of these wires out of the way. Okay, everything goes in nice. What I'm going to do is I am going to put some double-sided adhesive tape on the multimedia interface, and then we're going to mount that. All right, so now what you want to do is just go ahead and mount the unit on the bottom of the factory head unit. Make sure that block harness is out of the way, and then just very gently and carefully just guide everything back into place. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and replace 2 of the T20 screws. If you're ever using a drill, just make sure that you have it on a very light torque setting. So at this point, everything is pretty much installed. We just need to go back and wrap up some of these extra wires and just make sure that everything is nice and secure, and then just replace some of the trim. But other than that, we're 100% done. Alright, so at this point everything is 100% installed. As you can see, it just looks and feels like it's from the factory, with the nice molded handles and the crystal clear picture. So thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let us know. If you have any issues of the camera not coming on, just the first thing you always want to check is the dip switches. If the dip switches are set incorrectly, that can make the screen go black, or you can have some other troubles. But the dip switches are always the first place to start if you have any trouble. But feel free to email us at any time. Thanks so much. Have a great day.